And I think we're live. What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal, Spaz Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check, here with Kristen and Guapo, and we are here to talk about Takeover Toronto and Survivor Series. Guys, what's going on? And I think we're live. What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal, Spaz Phoenix, the YWC Reality.
I don't know.
That was my bad. What a missing we go sitting here once again for another awesome tackle.
Kristen.
Professionals.
100%. My long weekend starts today, so that's a thing. Everything's going on in Toronto tonight, so that's a thing. First thing to start off with, I just did the math for the hell of it. Between Takeover and Survivor Series, 62 wrestlers are wrestling this weekend.
Fuck.
That's
62. I don't even... Okay, there's a lot of clusterfuck matches. We're going to get to that as we get to it. But thoughts in general going into this weekend?
Optimistic, and yet I'm ready to watch the world burn.
I'm a little confused as to storyline progression when it comes to this.
None. Absolutely no storyline progression.
Exactly. So I'm like, seriously, out of all these matches, with the exception of the Cruiserweight title and the IC title, none of these matches progress any storylines other than number one contenders are on the same teams as the champions that they hate.
Yeah,
right?
And almost no titles are being defended, so that's also a thing. The both world titles, the U.S. champion, both sets of tag champs, both sets of women's champs are all in Survivor Series matches, so fuck title matches. Intercontinental Championship is a Raw versus SmackDown thing. The Cruiserweight thing is interesting. But yeah, it's a big pile of people, and they're basically doing bragging rights at Survivor Series.
Yeah.
Which is cool. But it means that, like you say, nothing else is... Like, they're already advertising the matches for the next individual pay-per-views in December. So this is a thing that's going to kind of exist in a bubble on its own. And we've got Takeover Toronto, so that's cool. And incredibly predictable matches on Takeover, but fun nonetheless. So, going in order, gotta say, NXT Takeover Toronto has no Ember Moon and has none of the members of Sanity, which is very surprising. Because I figured Sanity being the next big like gimmick stable that they're going to do, nothing. Eric Young, nothing. Ember Moon, there's like 6 other women on the women's roster, and they're not fighting, and yet they brought back Mickie James instead, which is something we're going to talk about later. But I have a feeling we're going to get a 6-woman tag tossed in on top of all this because of all that shit they're doing with Billie Kay and the other chick that likes to dress like Poison Ivy.
I don't like that the NXT women's division is becoming this. We have the title match, and then shit, we have all these other women, and just throw them in a big tag match or a big over-the-top rope challenge or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I would have thought it was funny. I mean, they have their own separate show, but I would have loved to see a Survivor Series match on this card just to, like, you know, go with the theme of the weekend. I've heard rumors that the takeover that they're doing before the Royal Rumble is going to have like a mini NXT Royal Rumble in it. So I wish they had done something similar for Survivor Series. But that being said, and fucking my shit's not working at all, the Battle of Canada, which just makes me smile, Bobby Roode versus Ty Dillinger.
It's going to be great. Just great. No. It's not going to be great. It's going to be glorious.
God damn it.
Sorry, you set it up.
Yeah. He did set it up.
They did. I love the fact, like, you guys know I used to watch TNA. Friggin' one of the good things that we got from TNA was Bobby Roode. I think it's pretty, unless you guys can...
paid for Bound for Glory.
Gosh, Spaz did play for Bound for Glory.
Oh, Jesus
This
Christ.
did happen.
Streamed it this year. Friggin' better get it while you can. all the Billy Corgan bullshit, but that's another story for another day. Unless somebody's got a really convincing reason why I shouldn't, I'm saying it's a lock that Bobby Roode's going to win this, not only because they're trying to make him a main eventer, but Ty Dillinger is the Dolph Ziggler of NXT.
He is the perfect 10. So, yeah.
He's the perfect jobber.
I mean,
he's not a jobber. Like, the fans love him, but at the same time,
the fans know his place in the business because he is a I don't want to say enhancement talent, but he is a trainer. He's the guy that goes up against them so that they have a feel and that they learn, okay, this is what you need to do to get better and do what you do, so you know your cues for the cameras and everything.
Yeah, but I mean, you want to believe that he's going to get his moment at some point. Like, he's a mid-carder on a brand that doesn't have a mid-card championship. Like, if they had like their version of a U.S. title or an IC title, Ty Dillinger would have it.
Right.
The way they did this, I think it was super. Like, I will say, it was super cheesy the way they did this. Let's get together for the Dusty Classic, and in the first match, Bobby Roode fucks off, which was kind of good. I mean, you could, if they wanted to, which they're not going to, you could lean on the fact that in another company, Eric Young, who's the leader of Sanity, and Bobby Roode were like in a faction together, like the Team Canada gimmick, and that's why he left Ty Dillinger high and dry. But they did this a couple of different times. The Dusty Classic in general was a bit of a clusterfuck this year. It was like,
this year, the Dusty Classic this year is just, I wasn't entertained by it. Like, there was nothing surprising to me. It was all very, very like, all right, well, this is how this is going to go.
I will say that the one thing I will give it over last year, I don't like who's in the finals. I really don't. But we'll get to that in a second. I will say over last year, the final four were actual tag teams. Like Gargano and Ciampa are a tag team. TM61, Authors of Pain, Revival are all actual tag teams. Whereas last year, the team that won was a thrown together team. And if you're doing a tag team classic, you want to have the proper tag teams move forward.
Yeah, absolutely. And you want the tag teams who were going to be built on to become NXT Tag Champions and later on hopefully become either SmackDown or Raw Tag Team Champions. You want to help build up the guys who have been working together for years now, or guys who are coming together as a team trying to find that little niche in their gimmick to where fans are going to click with them. I mean, shit, Alpha was thrown together and now they're one of the hottest tag teams on television.
Yeah, but they got thrown together and they lasted as a team.
Yeah.
Or you could throw Sheamus and Cesaro together and everybody can hate it.
Oh, we're gonna get there too. But no, like if you look at the thrown together team that won last year, it was Joe and Finn Balor. And literally they were fighting 2 weeks later. So what the fuck was the point? Authors of Pain and TM61, I want Authors of Pain to win because I don't give a shit about TM61. And the fact that it's a little old school because it's Paul Ellering, but the fact that they got Paul Ellering in a shark cage over the fucking ring, it's a little gimmicky. And it hasn't been until really recently that he's been getting involved in the matches anyway. And these guys are fucking gigantic and should be squashing people. Like they should be getting the Braun Strowman, Nia Jax treatment, but they're not. I don't know. This is one of those ones that I mean I'm going, but I don't care about this match.
Right.
What I do care about, though, is two of the teams that they pulled out of the Dusty Classic to go back into their tag team title feud. 2 out of 3 falls, Gargano and Ciampa versus the Revival. Tell me this isn't going to be the match of the night.
Yes, and mostly because I watched this match live myself at NXT New Orleans Live, and it was fucking amazing. But making 2 out of 3 falls...
Can I make a comment here?
Sure.
We really should have established a drinking game very early on in the video where we take a drink every time Spaz mentions that he's going to Survivor Series and NXT Takeover. Just putting that out there.
Already.
Yeah, but I mean, in January we're going to do that because you're going to the Royal Rumble, aren't we?
Yeah, but it's a much better pay-per-view because I'm going to it.
And then in August, me and Kristen will be doing it. Not August, April.
Really?
April.
Really? Does your girlfriend know about that?
Well, she's coming too.
Your girlfriend's going to watch you and Kristen do it?
No, WrestleMania.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's not August. That's April, buddy.
That's what I said, April.
Yes.
I meant to say April. I corrected myself.
I will say the rumors that I'm hearing about Royal Rumble in January do make me wish I was in Texas and going to that show. But okay. But getting back to the match at hand, there's no way Gargano and Ciampa aren't winning this time around. I feel like we say that every time there's a takeover and every time these guys have a title shot, but there's no way these guys aren't winning this time around.
We said that about oh my God. God damn. You guys are going to hate me when I figure out the name of this tag team because I'm going to lose my mind.
Enzo and Cass?
Yes. God.
They're not winning titles anywhere. I'm just putting that one out there. But I gotta believe that friggin' Gargano and Ciampa are picking up the tag team titles. Revival are moving to Raw or SmackDown at some point, and you're gonna have the Authors of Pain win the Dusty Classic and have Authors of Pain versus Gargano and Ciampa going forward. That's really the only thing that makes sense because Authors of Pain are the only other team that's there. So, yeah, Gargano and Ciampa, I mean, they'll go to that, it's a 2 out of 3 falls match. They will do that. Oh my God, this team got one. That team got one, and they'll go to the third fall. Gargano and Ciampa will get it in the end. They'll probably do a spot with a submission like they did in the last show to make us think that the Revival's winning again. But Revival's done in NXT as far as I'm concerned. And I really hope they go to SmackDown and don't get demoted to Raw. Guapo.
Yes.
Thank you for your input, Guapo. Kristen?
Yeah, what he said.
Kristen, the camera's too much. Back it up. There you go. Better.
I was leaning forward to do something.
Yes. For the view. Thank you.
All right, like we mentioned before, there's about 6 other women in the women's division other than the champion, but yet we went outside of the NXT roster to bring back Mickie James, which was originally supposed to be Trish Stratus, but she got herself knocked up again. Mickie James is coming in to put Asuka over so that she can fight. What?
This NXT match?
What?
Did you just say Trish was supposed to be challenging in this women's match?
It's taking place in Toronto.
I did not know that she was, because they were talking about Mickie James months ago.
Yeah,
so
no, when it originally happened, when the announcement was originally made in the original tapings, whatever, way back then, up until like a week or so before that taping happened, it was supposed to be Trish Stratus because of the whole Toronto connection, right? Yeah. But yeah, apparently she got knocked up, so that's not happening. So we get Mickie James, which is great because Trish Stratus, if you're going to bring back a legend, like an obvious one would be like a Trish Stratus or a Lita. Not as obvious as those two as Mickie James, so a little bit more of a surprise, but still she's coming in to put Asuka over. People that did watch TNA back in the day recognize Mickie James as the only like Triple Crown champion. She was the women's champion, she was the Divas champion, and she was the TNA women's champion. So
until the invention of the NXT Women's Championship, and now since I guess the new WWE Women's title has a different history than the original Women's title, and the fact that we now have a SmackDown Women's Championship, until the invention of those 3 titles, she had won every major title in major wrestling promotions.
Yeah, but I don't think she's going to touch the main roster. I think this might be a one and done type deal. You remember when Thunder Liger came in to do the one match with Tyler Breeze? I think we might be getting a similar situation here, especially when it was supposed to be Trish Stratus.
Yes, but Thunder Liger won that match.
Also wasn't a title match, though. Because if Mickie James comes in and wins a title match, she's the new champion. She would have to be sticking around for at least one more match to defend the title again. So they're not going to have a part-timer come in, take the belt, and then flip it back to the other champion like a month later or a couple months later. I don't think that's going to...
No, they totally wouldn't give a title to a part-timer and then,
Okay, I think they learned their lesson from Brock Lesnar and The Rock.
No, Rock reference, but yeah, same thing.
Yeah. But, no, it should be good. I mean, like, for those of us that saw Mickie James back in the day, it'll be a cool sort of nostalgia thing. Asuka's going to win. Asuka's going to go to the main roster undefeated, I think. I think she's going to, like, get fucked out of the title somehow, or she might pull, like, what Paige did. She'll get promoted, and then they'll come and tell her, like, you're on the main roster. You can't have the NXT Women's Championship.
See, and that wouldn't make any sense because... Kevin Owens ran around on Raw with the NXT Championship for like a month.
Yeah, but like you knew him coming to the main roster was the fact that you knew he was going to be done in NXT, and whatever his next title feud was, like he was going to lose. So it's not always like right one for the other, but it's an indicator. It's a what do you call it? It's the sign that you're being promoted / demoted depending on what brand you're going to. I mean, if they did put it on Mickie James for Asuka to win it back a month later, you'd get more than one Mickie James match. You'd get more than one appearance out of that deal. But I don't see anything with that in the long run. Like Asuka's undefeated. Why are you going to have her defeated by somebody who's only there part time? And yes, once again, you're going to make the Brock Lesnar Undertaker reference. But I think they see the shit that they got for that. I don't think they're going to. I think that's the kind of mistake they're especially not going to make in NXT.
Can we just talk about how weak Mickie James was on the mic the night that her video package showed with Asuka in the ring and everything? How kind of weak ass that video promo was.
Yeah, but I mean, like,
it looked like it was shot on a phone, really.
I was about to say, am I remembering wrong? Is Mickie James just bad on the mic and I just don't remember?
No, Mickie James hasn't been terrible on the mic. That's the weird part. Like, she's normally pretty decent on the mic.
I think
she was better in TNA, but again, like in TNA, they have a lot less restraints on them than WWE as well. So
I think when I came in the era when Mickie James was still in WWE, it was the women didn't talk very much at all. So maybe I'm just not.
And I mean, also, like her first run in WWE, she was kind of playing that crazy stalker of Trish Stratus thing. So the character didn't give her much opportunity to be a good mic person either. She was that storyline is even pre me.
Like I started watching in 2007. That feud happened in 2002. I don't remember.
Sure.
That sounds right.
It was a creepy feud between Mickie James and Trish,
where they came out dressed like each other and shit.
Yeah,
it was very strange. But the thing is, though, like Trish Stratus making fun of how crazy Mickie James was creepier than Mickie James stalking her. But be that as it may, I think Asuka's winning. Kristen?
I don't see them giving it to Mickie James unless this is them saying that she's staying long term, but I just don't see that happening. So I'm saying
but if she signed a long-term contract, she wouldn't be in developmental. And I'm sorry, as much as NXT is its own brand, it's still the developmental territory. Like I think if she had a long-term contract, she'd be on SmackDown, where I think a lot of the girls are killing it.
That's not necessarily true because big names went through. Kevin Owens is a pretty big name in the indie, and he started
but not already from WWE.
No, but I'm trying to think of an example of somebody who went back to NXT. I mean, well, you have a point, but unless she has a long-term contract and they're just not saying anything and she just wants to be in the NXT division as opposed to Raw or SmackDown, I see Asuka winning. I don't see any reason to give it to somebody who's not fully on contract.
I want to know how that conversation went. Like, we wanted Trish, but she got knocked up. So what are you doing in November? Like, that's like it's custom made. Like, with it being in Toronto, like, it's custom made for Trish Stratus. If the Gail Kim thing was even a remote possibility, I guarantee they would have gone for Gail Kim. But it's not. Guapo, last thoughts.
Asuka's definitely going to come away with the win on this one. It's going to be fun to watch Mickie James back in a WWE ring itself. I mean, I hope that she comes back to main roster. I mean, I think her presence with the current run of women wrestlers right now, whether it be Raw or SmackDown, would be a nice little change of pace to have someone who has been to the top of the mountain and has done everything that WWE has given them. So I think she would be a good plus either on Raw or SmackDown. And maybe she might be a good leader to stay on NXT for a little bit just to help out some of these young talents find their place.
I will say, with the rumors that WWE is going to do another tournament style show, kind of like they did with the cruiserweight division. Supposedly they're doing one for the women's division in January, February. I could definitely see her if she's in a.
They've already announced the February
women's classic.
Wrestling classic.
Okay. Yeah. No, I can definitely see if they're already in talks with her. I can see her sticking around for that. It kind of the way that even the people that got eliminated from the CWC still did some enhancement matches on NXT for and whatnot.
She could end up taking like the Brian Kendrick spot for that.
Absolutely. Main event is as predictable as it gets. Nakamura's going to beat Joe.
Yeah, definitely. Joe's coming up within the next month or so.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know where he would do it. I wouldn't be surprised if Joe has a run in the next night at Survivor Series on somebody.
If anything, I think Rumble.
Yeah.
Which
surprise entrant. If he's at Rumble, I could see him being a surprise entrant. Him just randomly running in and attacking somebody, I could see that on Sunday. Not necessarily to say, like, look, I'm on the main roster now, but like, fuckers, I'm coming down the road.
John Cena?
Yeah. Or even if he comes in, jumps somebody at Survivor Series and says, you know, screw you guys, I'm entering myself in the Royal Rumble. It could work. It could be a good thing. I mean, you don't have to do much to sell Samoa Joe to anybody that knows who he is.
Right.
Okay. So that's Takeover out of the way. Let's talk about the absolute clusterfuck that is Survivor Series. Kind of interesting the way that like I said before, they've made Survivor Series into the bragging rights pay-per-view a little bit. It's weird because it gives the whole show one theme, but at the same time, it means they're not trying to tell too many stories. And like I said before, the show will kind of exist in its own bubble. One of the more interesting stories to me is Brian Kendrick versus Kalisto for not only the Cruiserweight Championship, but for the fate of the Cruiserweight division. Does anybody think that the Cruiserweights won't do better on SmackDown?
They have better potential on SmackDown, I think.
Plus, they've got the 205 Live thing that's apparently happening right after. So apparently the deal is whoever goes to a SmackDown Live, they get to see, I think it's Superstars or whatever, that's filmed before SmackDown. They get to sit through all of SmackDown, and then they get to sit through an hour of 205 Live. That's a lot of wrestling to sit.
But
and it's on
you know what the Cruiserweight title move SmackDown means, though?
What's that?
It means that the IC title's probably moving to Raw.
I don't think so necessarily, and we're going to talk about the Intercontinental Championship next, but on SmackDown, you've got former NXT writers writing SmackDown, which is why SmackDown's simpler and makes a lot more sense. But a lot of those NXT writers were also helping Triple H do the Cruiserweight Classic. so they know how it's supposed to be done properly. Mauro Ranallo was there, who commentated the Cruiserweight Classic. Daniel Bryan commentated the Cruiserweight Classic. He's over on SmackDown. And in general, SmackDown's a better show. And historically, the Cruiserweights have been exclusive to SmackDown anyway. So, and I hate that Brian Kendrick's the champion, actually, because I liked Kendrick back in the day. Now he kind of looks like an old smoking lady who's like trying to be retro, trying to be badass, and it's just not working.
No, he looks like Chris.
I heard that he is trying to personify this. This is my last chance. I'm the old guy, and if I don't make it at this point, then I'm just done. So the old smoking lady at the casino look kind of works for it. But like I said last time before he won the title, how long can you do the, oh, if I don't win the title, I'm gone?
Yeah, it's like the wrestlers that have it's like the wrestlers that have retirement matches but come back anyway.
Exactly.
I don't like the Can we talk about how Hell in the Cell was kind of shit?
Yep.
The whole Brian Kendrick storyline where like he basically went to what the fuck's his name, Perkins, and asked him, "Hey, I used to drive you to wrestling school. Now you should let me win a title." And Brian Kendrick as the heel doing a lot of crying, and that was weird. If they were going to do this cross-promotional thing, I wish it was still TJ Perkins, because TJ Perkins versus Kalisto would be a good match. Kalisto being on SmackDown when the Cruiserweights were exclusive to Raw was one of those things that we said in a couple of other videos didn't make much sense. But I got to believe you're going to get interference from great wrestlers, because you're going to get the rest of the division, you know, looking at this match being like, hey, this is going to decide all of our fates. Hey, maybe we'd be better on SmackDown. Maybe we should help Kalisto win. And it's going to put the Lucha Dragons back together, because them separating is a disaster as well.
Yes.
I kind of hate that it's like I don't care about the match. I care more about the repercussions of the match. It's kind of like what we said last week or last month about the girls being in Hell in the Cell. It wasn't about them. It was more about WWE saying, look at what we're letting girls do. And this one, it's not really about whether you like Brian Kendrick or Kalisto. It's about, do you think the Cruiserweight should move to SmackDown or not? Which kind of sucks if you're those wrestlers, because it means that people are caring about the other shit around you more than they're caring about you. But, I mean, ultimately, Brian Kendrick...
Really, you guys care about the Cruiserweight division moving to SmackDown because you feel like it's going to be better represented on SmackDown. It's going to get more time. Sure. So that wouldn't portray at all that you guys don't care about the wrestlers themselves. Obviously you do, because you want them to go to SmackDown where they're going to get a better shot.
No, but we're all talking about, like, where do we want the division to go? And we're you know, talking about, okay, Kalisto should win because we think the division should be over here, not Kalisto should win because we're cheering for Kalisto. You know what I mean? Like we're cheering for people based on the outside effect we want it to have, not the hey, we like this.
I'm cheering for Kalisto.
I'm cheering for Kalisto because Brian Kendrick is a huge disappointment this time around.
Brian Kendrick looks like Kristen's friend Stewart with long hair.
Oh dear, I don't know.
He would find that to be.
Yeah, I know. I know he would. Chris, every time Brian Kendrick is on TV, Chris is like, "Oh look, it's Stewart."
You guys should tell him on Facebook. He will. That would make his day.
I think Chris has told him that. I'm not sure.
You know what would make his day if you told him he looked like Paul London, who is actually his favorite part of that tag team.
Nice. All right. The only other title match we've got on this fucking card is not Dolph Ziggler, but The Miz versus Sami Zayn for the Intercontinental
title moving to Raw. Sami Zayn's gonna win. No discussion.
I think Sami Zayn's gonna win the title and defect to SmackDown. He'll win the title, but the title will stay on SmackDown. Miz has been dropping a whole bunch of hints that him and Maurice are gonna move to Raw. I don't think they're moving the Intercontinental Championship. You can't have both mid-card titles on one show because they cancel each other out.
Yeah.
And with Roman Reigns holding the U.S. title, the Intercontinental Championship is going to be booked like the third championship, which is bullshit.
I
find it bullshit that they let Miz win it.
Highly disagree.
Yeah, but you know why? Because and I got to give a quick shout out to JD from New York, who did a video on this earlier on today, and it's kind of a good point. They've just given all this momentum to Ziggler, so you don't want to give Ziggler a huge, monumental, like, brand disappointing loss on a major Big Four pay-per-view after you've built them all up. You know that the only reason he has the championship is because Maurice fucked him over on SmackDown a couple of days before the show. So he doesn't lose very much face by doing that. Also, for Sami Zayn to go in there against a heel as great as The Miz has been the past little while, he's the babyface, he's the underdog, he's the Daniel Bryan-ish character, and he conquers this big bad heel. I think it's a better dynamic. You won't have a split crowd. For Sami Zayn to topple him rather than toppling Ziggler, where you're going to get a more 50-50 response, is good. Plus, again, it's you got to go back to the Bobby Roode, Ty Dillinger thing, and remember that we're in Toronto. Ontario's not that far away from Quebec, not that far away from Montreal. Sami Zayn was going to be the babyface by default anyway.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think you want to walk into a situation where Dolph Ziggler, after you've given him all this push, gets booed out of the building. And the Canadian fans, it is entirely true, are kind of fucked up sometimes. And they would have done that.
It is Bizarro world up there.
Still highly disagree. The Intercontinental title is going to Raw only for this reason, though. Because WWE is always going to see Raw as their main show. So they're going to make sure there's more titles on Raw than there are on SmackDown.
Yes.
Yeah, but how do you distinguish the two?
And if Miz has been dropping hints about moving to Raw, it'll be so that he gets his title rematch. So he'll move to Raw to face Sami Zayn again and then be permanently on Raw. That's my prediction.
It's just too much shit to do in one fucking show.
I don't know. I have an odd feeling that because there's one more Raw pay-per-view and one more SmackDown pay-per-view, both happening in December. On one of those shows, I can see us getting Ziggler, Zayn, Miz triple threat match for the belt. And then, like, there'll be some unrest coming out of Survivor Series, and then you'll see, you know, this will be where we really decide what brand gets the title and whatever. I can see if you're going to have an inconclusive match on the entire Survivor Series card, it's going to be this match. The Cruiserweight division, I really don't want to be an inconclusive finish because there is a rumor going around that there's going to be an inconclusive finish in the Cruiserweight match, which is going to give us 2 Cruiserweight divisions, which would suck balls.
Oh, no.
Although I will say, if WWE realizes their mistake and puts the Cruiserweight division on SmackDown, it'll make Stephanie McMahon look like a goof because she spent so long saying the Cruiserweights are going to be exclusive to Raw and all this other shit.
Well, talk about Stephanie McMahon being a goof for a minute. I did watch the first couple minutes of Raw and the first couple minutes of SmackDown. And you know what the difference between Stephanie McMahon is that Shane McMahon doesn't work to get the crowd behind him. Stephanie McMahon is clearly supposed to be heel, and it's awkward. It's awkward for me to watch her try and fail pretty badly to get the crowd behind her. Like, to use Enzo and Cass's, like, gimmick to try and get people behind her. And then when they don't chant it, trying to get them to chant it. And it's just
bad.
Just be a heel. Just be a heel. You're good at that. Be a heel.
I think at this point, like, I don't think Stephanie McMahon would get cheered at this point if she walked out with some actual Connors Cure kids with her. Like, you know how we always make fun of John Cena and the Make-A-Wish shit and how WWE uses it to his advantage and rah-rah-rah-rah. If John Cena walked out on the stage with some Make-A-Wish kids, he'd get a respectful round of applause because he does some good shit, and we know that. Stephanie McMahon could go out there with some Connor's Cure fucking people, and she'd still get booed out of the building.
That's why you have Mick Foley there. Mick Foley's obviously the face.
Oh, they're ruining Foley so much.
Just be a heel. Just be a... And she does it every once in a while. Like when she was giving the little pep talk to the Raw Survivor Series team, saying, you need to fight like your jobs depend on it, because
they do.
And that was a great line, because essentially saying, win or I will fire your ass.
Yeah, but WWE likes to do that. Remember when it was Team Cena versus Team Authority last year at Survivor Series, and they're like, yeah, when you guys lose, we're going to fire all of you.
Was that last year, really?
Yes,
that
was
last year. No, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
2 years ago, because that led to shit show level Sting on WrestleMania.
Yeah.
The NWO. Remember the NWO at WrestleMania? Yeah.
Remember the NWO at WrestleMania? Yeah, I remember. Have you not been watching? Never mind. You haven't been watching South Park this season. Member berries.
I just had to add that Stephanie McMahon thing, because it was painful to watch. As she goes up to the mic and she goes, "Hey, Enzo and Cass, how you doing?" And
I was like, stop.
them to chant, "How you doing?" And then she chanted at the crowd, "How you doing?" No, don't.
And then you had Mick Foley trying to do like Enzo's little awkward running man thing, and it's just stop.
Just stop.
Just stop. Okay, so now if 5-on-5 isn't bad enough, let's start talking with the 10-on-10 match. And let's run down this shit show, okay? Because I'm just going to be laughing through this entire match. New Day, Enzo and Cass, Gallows and Anderson, Sheamus and Cesaro, and the Shining Stars versus Rhino, Heath Slater, the Hype Bros, American Alpha, the Usos, and Breezango.
Let's go Team Blue.
American Alpha and Enzo and Cass were in their own separate match.
No.
Are they not? That's what they made it sound like, Raw.
Yeah, they just started coming out and randomly talking shit about the other teams, and it's funny because Enzo and Cass are face, and most of the teams other than the Usos on SmackDown are also face, so it's kind of like we've got no heat to build on whatsoever. I'm going with SmackDown only because, like, look at Team Raw. New Day is stale. The friggin' Enzo and Cass is stale. Gallows and Anderson never got off the ground. Shining Stars are irrelevant. Sheamus and Cesaro is a disaster.
I agree with all of that.
I mean, Rhino and Heath Slater is kind of a disaster too, but at least it's a funny one. Hype Bros they're not great, but they're what they're supposed to be. American Alpha, heel Usos, and Breezango, they need to win. Like, there's nothing on the line here. Like, there's no stakes. There's no, if SmackDown wins, they get this type of thing. There was a rumor going around a couple weeks ago that in the main event, if whatever team won got 3 draft picks from the other team, like if SmackDown won, they would get 3 draft picks from Raw over to their roster, but that never formulated. As far as I know, there's no stakes on any of the elimination matches.
No, it's bragging rights.
Yeah, it's bragging rights without the bragging rights. If they bring out the bragging rights trophy, I would pop a little bit. I'm not gonna lie.
My point is that Survivor Series is supposed to be one of the 4 big pay-per-views, and it doesn't feel like it is.
No, it's always been sort of like the bastard child of the big 4 pay-per-views. So
yeah, and it's.
Anyways,
but just I wanted it to be more, and it's
sorry,
not.
I got to Kristen, I got to cut you off for a second because our buddy Wrestling with Reality is in the chat. Totally forgot to start off the show with this. Did a Survivor Series fantasy booking contest a couple weeks ago. Wrestling with Reality is the winner. His winning scenario. I don't have it all written down, the whole story. Go check out Wrestling with Reality on his channel. He did a whole video response to the contest explaining how this all came together. in his sort of storyboard. But he's got Team Heyman as Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, Sabu, Rob Van Dam, and Rusev versus Team Triple H, which is Triple H, Randy Orton, Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, and Batista. So congratulations to Wrestling with Reality. He did win the Survivor Series contest. To be determined at a later date what the prize is for that. We're going to talk at a later date. But go check out Wrestling with Reality. His response was great, and he's the winner of that. So I just seen him in the chat. Congratulations on that. Back to the card. The next elimination match we got is the women's 5-on-5, which realistically should be 6-on-6, because Dana Brooke is going to be in Charlotte's corner, and Natalya was named as the official coach for the SmackDown team. But what the actual teams are Charlotte, Bayley, Nia Jax, Alicia Fox, and Sasha Banks versus Nikki Bella, Carmella, Becky Lynch, Naomi, Alexa Bliss, and Natalya as their coach.
Team Blue.
Again, for the same reasons as the tag match, I got to go with SmackDown. Raw,
Purely
their
for
women's
Alexa Bliss. That's the only reason why I'm going.
Yeah, well, Alexa Bliss for sure, Becky Lynch for sure, but also Raw, their entire women's division revolves around Charlotte and Sasha Banks, really.
But Alexa Bliss.
Yes, and I'm agreeing with you, Guapo. That's what I'm saying.
Thank
But
you.
like they haven't used Bayley properly. They stopped the Nia Jax squash matches that were happening, and Alicia Fox has fought all of once since the draft. So the fact that they've dusted these girls off just to fill out a team, whereas everybody, I will say, even Naomi, even though I can't stand her, everybody is being used to some extent on SmackDown. Everybody has something going on. I mean, there is the storyline of Becky Lynch and Alexa Bliss and their match that ended in controversial fashion, so there's a bit of a story there. But there's no reason why Team Blue shouldn't win this.
Also, on a side note, Wrestling with Reality, no, I am not going to be the prize for.
Congratulations, Wrestling with Reality. You have won your prize with one date with Kristen.
That is not true at all.
Via Google Hangout and or Skype.
Nice.
But it must be broadcast on YouTube for everyone to see.
Also, Guapo and Spaz are not my handlers. That's not how that works.
There's a whole other set of jokes that can be made out of that.
Wrestling with Reality. Send me your info and I'll get you Kristen's number.
Oh, that's
Guapo, if you do that, I know where you live, and I'm not afraid to say that live on the internet.
Okay, fine.
Right.
Sorry, Wrestling. I tried.
The last elimination match: Kevin Owens, Jericho, Roman Reigns, Braun Strowman, and Seth Rollins versus AJ Styles, Randy Orton, Bray Wyatt, Dean Ambrose, and not Baron Corbin, but Shane McMahon. I think this is where Raw is going to get its match back. This is I think the tag and the women is going to go to SmackDown because I think Raw is taking this match. Braun Strowman is awkward. It did make more sense when Baron Corbin was on Team SmackDown because you had like 4 pretty well established guys and 1 new big imposing guy, so the teams kind of mirrored each other. I figure Baron Corbin is either going to interfere in this match or in the Kalisto match because Kalisto injured him, quote unquote. But my only reasoning, and it has to do a lot with the Royal Rumble, which Kristen's going to be at. I really think we're going to get Undertaker versus AJ Styles at the Royal Rumble, and it was Undertaker that came out this week on SmackDown during the Cutting Edge and basically like threatened the entire SmackDown team, like, you know, SmackDown's always been my brand. Survivor Series is where the Undertaker started. You guys better win or else type deal. So I figure AJ Styles is going to fuck up something in this match, and we're going to get AJ Styles versus the Undertaker.
We can only hope. That would be so awesome.
Yes. It would be kind of cool though. everybody thinks Braun Strowman is going to manhandle Shane McMahon in this match, which would be really cool. I kind of hope Baron Corbin comes out and kind of fucks him up for like being taken out of the match and then taking his spot himself. Either one of those things is cool. Like, Shane McMahon's basically a stuntman, so he's going to be ragtagged by somebody.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I see the turn of Braun Strowman against Bray Wyatt happening. That both of them are going to end up in the ring at the same time, and Bray's going to try to do his Bray mind manipulation thing against Braun, and Braun's going to be like, fuck that.
Yeah, but if they, you know how much the entire like freaking YWC is going to be pissed if Braun Strowman beats the shit out of Bray Wyatt straight up.
Oh yes, it's going to be.
It's going to be. We've been waiting for them to do something.
It's going to be a shit show. It will be a literal shit show, but hey, this is what we get. We watch WWE and we like it for some reason. So what should we expect other than them fucking over Bray Wyatt again?
Yeah, I mean, there's the weird thing about this is there's so many. Okay, sorry, Kristen, go ahead.
Here's the problem with all of these matches, really, in general, and to some extent this pay-per-view, is that it's hard, at least for me, to feel any ramifications for any of these matches because they don't further anybody's storyline. They don't
have any ramifications. That's the thing.
Title shot based on this. Nobody's winning a title based on this, with the exception of 2 matches. And so it's hard to get invested, really. Like, unless you're just really wanting, like, I want this win for Team SmackDown because SmackDown's a better show. But you know that SmackDown's going to win a certain number of matches. Raw is going to win a certain number of matches so they can, like, brag about it the next night. And then after that Monday night and Tuesday night SmackDown, it will mean nothing other than maybe the idea of The Undertaker facing AJ Styles at the Royal Rumble. But other than that, we're left with nothing.
I've heard a lot of people say a lot of things that make a couple of different stipulations that make a lot of sense. You know, you're going for brand supremacy. By the time we get to WrestleMania, you're going to have 2 world title matches. Like, you have the world title on SmackDown, Universal title on Raw. If they did something like, hey, the winning team here, like say if Team Raw wins at Survivor Series, then Raw's title match gets to be the main event of WrestleMania. Like, that's something simple that would have some ramifications for the future, but you're right, it doesn't. I'm not going to lie, I like the Survivor Series matches. I'm watching it for the type. I mean, you go to something like the Royal Rumble. Royal Rumble, you know, sets the stage for WrestleMania. It sets your number 1 contender or whatever. Even if that wasn't the case, I would still enjoy the Royal Rumble because it's something that happens once a year. Maybe that's super simplistic, but Survivor Series matches really only happen once a year. So you can sit back and enjoy that. Obviously, we're going to get stories built out of all this. What I was about to say a second ago is you've got, you know, like Guapo said, you got Strowman, who used to be Wyatt's protege. You got Orton, who's Wyatt's new protege, apparently. You've got members of the Shield on both sides. You've got the Owens-Jericho Canadian friendship thing that you know is going to fall apart at some point. You've got the fact that Shane McMahon...
Hey, that friendship will not fall apart. That friendship will last forever.
They are best friends.
They're best friends. Spaz, you just made the list.
Oh, fucking...
Hashtag Jericho.
Yeah, and they're going to fight eventually. But it's one of those situations where there's almost too many creative ways they could go with it. So whatever they do, like if they choose to do the, like if Ambrose defects for a night and the Shield just kind of goes about their own business, cool. If Braun Strowman defects back to help out SmackDown because he's still under Bray Wyatt's spell or some shit like that, that would be cool. If Baron Corbin comes out and end of days Shane McMahon for taking his spot in the match, that would be cool. And if nothing happens, it's still the Survivor Series match, and it's just a fun match to watch.
That would be the only reason to watch, though, is if you like Survivor Series matches, which I do, but, I mean...
But you wish there were some stakes.
Well, there are some wrestling fans that can watch a wrestling match context, no storyline, no nothing behind it, and just enjoy the match. And that's pretty rare for me. I need to have some sort of context when it comes to this, and there is to this extent. The fact is, there is no end cap for a lot of it. Yes, if people start jumping brands, then it'll make it a little interesting. I don't know if that's going to happen.
I think some point next year there's going to be some sort of pay-per-view scenario where the world champion fights the world champion, the tag champs fight the tag champs, the women's champs fight the women's champs, the mid-card champions face each other. I think if they do decide to go that route, they could start here because Becky Lynch and Charlotte are both in that match. AJ Styles, Kevin Owens are both in that match. The New Day, Rhino and Slater are all in the same match. The only title that's really the odd one out is Roman Reigns being in that elimination match, and he's the United States champion. But again, it's one of those.
Wrestling with Reality thinks that Spaz should have a WrestleMania match with Naomi.
I'll pass. I don't want it to burn when I pee. Moving on to the supposed.
Oh, that's mean. Why would you say it like?
Also probably true.
She is a married woman, sir.
Here is, but it's an USO. It almost doesn't count. Sad things are all sad.
I have no funny comment for this.
Oh, God. All right.
The main event. Let's make WWE great again. The main event that was booked by a video game.
Hold on, Spaz. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to cut you off, but Wrestling with Reality said, I hope Sami Zayn doesn't go to SmackDown. He fucking sucks. We are no longer friends, sir.
Oh, sorry,
Get
you're
the
wrong.
fuck out of here.
Oh my goodness.
You're the eighth man. Fuck the eighth man.
Oh Jesus. All right. Main event booked by a video game, and I really couldn't be paid to give a shit. But Brock Lesnar versus Oldberg. Thoughts?
Okay. Hang on. I totally was against this match. Keep in mind, I've missed the last Raw and the last SmackDown, so I didn't see Brock Lesnar's response to Goldberg, and then I didn't see both of them on the same stage. So it may have saved it for me. So, Paul Heyman issues the challenge. Goldberg shows up, and the Goldberg promo, I felt like was a great promo. That first one, I felt like it was. A lot of other people are like, I'm not feeling that. I see it in Spaz's face right now. I loved that Goldberg promo. I thought it was short, sweet.
Oh, I don't mind the promo. It's everything that happened around the promo that just
grabbing the kids and everything.
No, all of it. I'm gonna let Kristen say her piece because I've got the Goldberg. I'm gonna go over the whole Goldberg story since he's been back.
Yes, he hit all of his catchphrases, and I felt like it was a good promo, but. Keep in mind, this opinion is based on the fact that I've seen essentially half of the feud.
This is also based on the fact that Kristen hasn't watched almost any WCW.
Yeah.
Not even almost any. Zero WCW.
No, because we did watch some WCW pay-per-view matches, remember?
We were so drunk that night, it doesn't even count.
This is true. We were extremely drunk that night.
There we go. I sense that happens a lot.
When we get together and say, "All right, we're just going to watch a pay-per-view and review it as it goes." Yeah.
Kristen? What did we say about TNA? Let's drink every time TNA's dumb, and you're like, we'd all die.
We would die in the first 5 minutes.
You could kind of say the same thing for WCW. WCW had the Yeti. I'm just saying.
But it had Jericho, so it made up for everything.
Okay, WCW also had Hulk Hogan versus the Giant in a sumo wrestling monster truck match.
Yeah, we didn't watch that one.
Also, Dave Arquette was a champion.
Huh?
So let me tell you the story of Oldberg.
Oldberg.
Paul Heyman comes out to, hyping up the video game, hyping up Survivor Series, whatever, calls out Goldberg. Goldberg comes out to respond the following week, whatever. He goes out, he does the entrance from the back where they show him in the locker room area, whatever. They do that shot for way too long because he's winded by the time he gets to the ring. He tries to do his little, how the pyro goes off in the entranceway and then he does his little punch kick thing. He couldn't even do the kick. He comes out.
He was in skinny jeans.
Okay, not the point. Gets out, does the promo. Goldberg, who was a wrecking ball in WCW and tried to be a wrecking ball in WWE, now suddenly wants to be a hero for the children, which is fine. The promo was decent, but it's Goldberg playing John Cena. Afterwards, he goes out.
It was Goldberg playing John Cena.
He goes out after the match. He's high-fiving all the kids, whatever. Goes to pick up his own kid and has to try twice to lift up his own kid. Right? Fast forward a week, he's out there cutting another promo. He gets told off by Rusev, tries to brawl with Rusev, and falls on his ass.
Didn't see that. See,
fast forward to this week, where they did very similar to what they did with Nakamura and Joe on NXT with the diagonal line of security guards. Paul Heyman's talking his shit. The entire promo became about Goldberg's family, which is super fucking cliche and lame. And Lesnar fucks off. Heyman fucks off. Goldberg throws around a couple of extras that were dressed as security guards, then goes on to NBC to tell them yesterday or today that he tweaked his shoulder on Raw and he feels like shit right now, but he's still relatively confident about Sunday. This guy is Brock fucking Lesnar.
See, I'm telling you, I got the version of this feud. Paul Heyman give his challenge, and then Goldberg's response, and nothing else. It's a great fucking feud.
Yeah, but when a guy fails at kicking air, fails at picking up his child,
wear skinny jeans,
fails at a mini brawl with fucking Rusev, who's doing nothing.
Why does it sound like Hunter?
And then tweaks his shoulder. Throwing some extras around. But this guy, I'm sorry, at this point, and he's blown up before he gets to the ring. So fragile as fuck Goldberg is going in against Brock fucking Lesnar. The last time we saw Brock fucking Lesnar is when he cut friggin' Randy Orton's forehead open.
Here's my stance on it. I was in the camp of zero fucks to be given when it came to Brock Lesnar versus Goldberg. Could not care less. That was one match that Guapo and Suave did get me to watch. It was not good the first time. Why would it be good the second time?
Hold on. Kristen, time out real quick.
Oh, are you looking at the comment section, Guapo?
Yes, that, but also time out real quick because Kristen, the only reason why we even watched that match was because we wanted to watch Chris Benoit versus Triple H and Shawn Michaels.
Yes, obvious.
Yeah.
Also, because I think Jericho is on it for some reason too.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I was clearly in the camp of could not care less about this match. That Goldberg promo made me actually want to watch the match.
Okay.
I didn't.
So here's where I will be. Okay, because I've ranted on Goldberg for the last 5 minutes, I will be fair because I don't think the match is going to be good at all. I really don't.
No, it's going to be bad. I think it's going to be.
But I will say, and I'm not going to take anything away from, it is a big marquee match. It's kind of like the Rock Cena thing. Even if they went into the ring and fucking shit themselves, Rock versus Cena is a marquee match. I don't doubt the fact that, the WCW icon Brock Lesnar, Goldberg versus, his counterpart in WWE, Brock Lesnar. It was a big deal, or it should have been a big deal at WrestleMania 20. It's a big deal to talk about now. But I have no faith in Goldberg based on what he's shown us the past couple of weeks. I think he's going to get seriously hurt in the match. And we know Brock Lesnar is going to win. Not only because Brock Lesnar is the one hanging around, but because Brock Lesnar needs his receipt back. Like he said it the whole time. Like everybody that has beaten him in the WWE, he's gone back and beaten more people and took the streak and whatever. The only thing nagging on his record is his one loss to Goldberg 14 fucking years ago. And that match was a shit show 14 years ago.
I don't think you bring Goldberg back to have him lose.
People said the same thing about Sting, and they were wrong twice.
What matches did he win again? Because I'm pretty sure he lost to Triple H.
He lost to Triple H, and then he lost to Seth Rollins, and then he retired.
Exactly. Well, that's true.
Oh, no. He had that awesome main event on Raw against The Big Show.
Well, in their defense, I feel like they thought they were going to have Sting longer than they ended up having.
Yeah,
I don't think they're going to.
I fully believe we're getting more than one match out of Goldberg, but the first match, he's losing.
Another match out of Goldberg, especially if he loses. I think this is the last we see of Goldberg if he loses.
I will say, the one rumor I have heard that kind of makes me just roll my eyes because they haven't done anything with him. First of all, they're doing this entire pay-per-view without Dolph Ziggler, which is funny. They're also doing this entire pay-per-view without Rusev, who a lot of people are very high on. There's a rumor that Rusev is going to interrupt the main event.
Oh, God.
To get a receipt on Goldberg for making him look foolish on Raw.
I think I'd really rather see the big guy make his comeback.
Oh, my God. Ryback versus Goldberg.
I know Spaz is so excited because he's going to see all of this, and it's going to be great live. WWE is almost always great live, no matter how bad the pay-per-view is.
Oh yeah, and this is why I'm saying. I don't know if you guys know Fear the Spear 1990. My buddy James from over in the UK. He's sat there and he's like, man, do me one favor if you can, stream the Goldberg and Lesnar entrances from the show. The show, the spectacle of it will be great, but it's kind of like, do you remember when we were getting Kane versus The Undertaker, and it just got repetitive and repetitive and repetitive?
Mm-hmm.
And their matches weren't that great, in my personal opinion, right? I got to give a shout out to Mark Pearson, who said this in a video ages ago. I know the guy doesn't like me, but I'll still give credit where it's due. Everybody did this with Undertaker and Kane. You always had all the supernatural storytelling and the back and forth going into the match. They always had amazing entrances. It was a huge spectacle, and you loved it, and you were all jazzed up until the bell rings, and you're like, fuck, it's Kane and Undertaker. I really think that that's what's going to happen on Sunday. We're all excited to have Goldberg back because he was a big thing for a brief period of time in WCW, WWE. WWE kind of fucked him up a little bit. They put a blonde wig on him at one point in a really unfortunate segment with Goldust. And we prefer not to talk about that. ABJ504 says, have a fun weekend, Spaz. Thank you very much for that, man. There will be pictures at some point. They'll probably be shitty. I don't know how well I'll be able to take them from the 100 section of Air Canada Center, but it'll be what it'll be. But I think we're going to get the same thing here. I think it's going to be like everybody's going to be jazzed up for Goldberg. You can't listen to the Goldberg, the entrance, the pyro, the whole shot from the back that only he really does. It's custom built for suspense. But the suspense is going to end when the match starts, and 2 minutes into the match, he's fucking gassed. I think we're going to get ourselves all worked up, and then it's going to be like, wah, wah.
It's going to be WrestleMania 20 all over again.
I would really love it if this was the semi-main. I really would.
Yeah.
Gonna do this again. Kristen's gonna roll her eyes, but I was at WrestleMania 18. Hogan and Rock was the selling point. What?
Why would I roll my eyes at you being at WrestleMania 18? The only thing I'd roll my eyes at is if it... Never mind, continue.
I'm going to NXT TakeOver Toronto and Survivor.
Right here in Toronto, Canada. Anyways, but no, the selling point of that WrestleMania was Rock versus Hogan. and it was phenomenal. The entrance of Rock and Hulk Hogan in the Sky Dome in Toronto is not trying to be super dramatic or anything, but it's not really something I can explain. It was very, very almost eerie, the way that people just refused to hate Hogan in Toronto. But it wasn't the main event. The main event was the title match. The main event was Triple H versus Jericho afterwards. That was the selling point. They didn't make it the main event. The selling point of this pay-per-view is obviously Brock Lesnar versus Goldberg. It's the biggest marquee match. And yes, they're prostituting Survivor Series to sell 2K17. And I get all that. And it's a huge friggin' deal. I would still love this to be the semi-main and let the men's 5-on-5 be the last match, because I think something big's going to happen there, and it has less of a chance to flop. I know people are going to tell me that I'm crazy. I know people are going to tell me that I'm, a wrestling apologist or whatever the case may be, but Brock Lesnar and Goldberg isn't your money long-term. It's your money for this show.
I agree with that. I don't think the match is going to be good. Even the praises that I have sung about the feud itself, I don't think the match is going to go well. Every match that Brock Lesnar is in, I am always constantly terrified that he is going to hurt somebody, because I don't feel like he wrestles very safely. I don't think I think he thinks I'm an MMA guy and I want it to look real kind of thing. And so, I don't think he's a very safe wrestler, and I think he's shitty for that. But, I think you're right. I think Goldberg's going to get hurt because, if what you said is true, if he's tweaking his shoulder on Raw against some extras, I think that Brock Lesnar is not a safe wrestler as it is. Essentially, this could be your last match you see ever of Goldberg.
Yeah.
Period. I don't think it's going to be a very good match. I would love to be proved wrong, but I don't think it's going to be a very good match. I do think, however, it is going to be the main event. That's unfortunate.
Okay. I'm actually going to try and pull up the quote here right now. My body feels horrible. I tweaked my shoulder last night on Raw, but that doesn't mean in 5 days I'm not going to come out kicking ass and taking names like I always do. That's from NBCSports.com via No DQ.
About Goldberg?
Yeah. He tweaked his shoulder throwing around some extras. What the fuck is he going to do with Brock Lesnar? And Brock Lesnar's going to kill him. So not only do I think the match is going to suck, combined with the fact that the ending is super fucking predictable. I get that people are hyped up for the return of Goldberg. I do. I get the excitement that a Brock Lesnar brings to a pay-per-view. I really do. But this match is going to be a shit show, and we're going to see Brock Lesnar get hurt. And I can't get excited about that.
Goldberg.
We're going to see Goldberg.
Sorry, you're going to see Brock Lesnar hurt Goldberg.
Look, I know I know how this is going to play out. I did it on WWE 2K17. Brock Lesnar is going to F5 Goldberg at least 5 times because, I saved up at least 3 to 6 finishers.
Side note, watching Guapo and Spaz play 2K anything, boring as fuck.
You're boring as fuck.
Unless the one exception to that rule is if they are doing a tag team match where they are on a team with each other, because they are the personification of the tag team that hates each other.
Sometimes.
Because they are the worst tag team ever, because they try and constantly outdo each other and screw each other over the entire time.
Are you saying we are the Cesaro and Sheamus of real life?
No, they are worse.
No, he's talking about me and Suave.
Yes.
When we play together.
Playing that game is boring to play unless they are a tag team, because they are the worst tag team partners for each other.
Sometimes. It depends on the tag team.
I will say, because I haven't upgraded my shit in a while and I am still playing on a PS3, the PS3 version of 2K17 kind of sucks balls.
Do you have the career mode in it?
It has no career mode.
What? Damn. That really sucks.
All the shit that you unlock in career mode, we unlock by just having random matches in universe mode.
Really?
Yeah.
That's shit.
lame.
See, it is kind of shit, but I'm not enough of like a game person to go out and justify buying a PS4 because all I use my PS3 for is Netflix and wrestling games. Because I'm not a video game person. I have more wrestling video games than I should probably admit, but it's not like the primary function of my PS3 is not gaming.
Look,
like it's freaking.
If you ever do want to like get into it, get a PlayStation 4 and get wrestling games and Fallout.
I've heard good things. Yeah,
Well,
everybody's got that, you know, I know you're not a gamer, but if you are, you should try this.
Yeah.
Slash, I know you're already watching too many TV shows, but when one of them goes on break, you should give this a shot.
Yes, there's that. Netflix is always a thing. For some reason, I just started watching Freaks and Geeks. I don't know why. I just started.
Speaking of Netflix, this is something we talked about last month. The three of us still need to do Luke Cage Season 1. Kristen,
Yes.
That's happening on your channel at some point. I had to bail back when that happened, and I'm a shithead for that, so we're still going to do that at some point. You guys need to go see Doctor Strange.
Already did.
And
It was awesome.
All right, maybe we'll do a 2-in-1 review.
I think I can make that happen. I'd have
Yeah.
to
All right.
go back and watch Luke Cage again. It's been so long.
Yeah.
Long live the chief.
Thank you, Guapo. Right on cue. All right. I don't know. I don't have anything else. Like, I think it's kind of fucked up. Like I said, I did the math. I am, anyways. You guys on TV, me in the arena, are getting ready to watch 62 wrestlers this weekend. 62.
Lord help
That's
us.
gonna.
And that's not including Rusev, John Cena, Dolph Ziggler. They put a women's team together on Raw with Alicia Fox, who they never used. Yet they're holding off the re-debut of Emma. Paige is long.
What has happened with Emma? Like, I remember seeing a video package for her and then nothing.
They're making her some like random runway bimbo named
Emelina.
Yeah.
What?
It's awful.
The friggin' hot heel Emma gimmick that they were doing before it's gone now. It's just gone.
Stupid. Hot heel Emma is the best.
Although I will say Paige sort of dug her own grave, but that's another story for another day.
Also, are we coming to the end of the video? Because I have something to say.
Sure.
Thank you guys in the comment section who, stayed on topic is the nice way to put it. And I just checked to make sure, because I didn't want to say this and give credibility to the rest of them. But fuck you guys, we outlasted you. We didn't acknowledge you at all. Suck my
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm gonna be
the whole time and ignored them.
Yeah.
But we outlasted you guys. You guys got bored. You guys are the suckers.
Oh shit.
Also,
if we had planned this out,
guys. You know what? Do you know what we had tonight? Guys, tell me. Look, I need to tell you what we had tonight. Had a couple of haters.
That was the best way to put it.
Anyways, Guapo, tell them where to find you, buddy.
Mi amigos, you can find me on Twitter at Guapo_504. That's pretty much it. And you can also find me at the Black Hat Feline channel, whenever the fuck we decide to get that shit going again. Kristen.
We will. Hey, it's Guapo's end that keeps us from doing shit.
I've
Just saying.
I've been busy.
Just saying.
He's been busy, guys. He has like a girlfriend and work. A girlfriend who is a very sweet person, and I love you guys, but you're obnoxious, okay? They're in their obnoxious love stage right now. I'm just saying.
I want to say that these are all true facts. Kristen, tell them where to find you.
You can find me at Black Cat Feline on Twitter, the Black Cat Feline channel on YouTube, Instagram. You can find me. Like, that's it.
You're on Instagram and Twitter and all that shit. Anyways, and you guys know where to find me, or you wouldn't be here. I've been Spaz, she's been Kristen, he's been Guapo. We are your YWC Reality Check. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation, keep all these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I'll talk to each and every last one of you later. But for right now, we are tagging out. Bye, guys.
Adios, mi amigos.
Bye, guys.